Meet HR manager Kat. Kat learned that their recent hire Dan isn't performing well in his assignment. Dan is just the latest in an increasing number of newly hired employees that have been causing all sorts of problems, like lack of basic job skills, poor work habits, bad attitude towards colleagues, and outright fraud. Kat and her team went through the usual hiring process. Dozens of application forms, different levels of interviews, several skills and behavioural exams. And yet, still not getting the right hires. Facing pressure from all sides of the company, Kat needs to find a solution fast. So they revisit the process to find out what they've been doing wrong. That's where they found out that most of the application forms that they've been screening are misleading and false. What to do now? This is where Vanguard Screening Solution comes in. One of the biggest and most reputable background screening service providers in the Asia-Pacific region. Vanguard Screening helps minimize the chances of bad hires by ensuring the candidate's education, job experience, criminal credit history, and other personal details are thoroughly verified by well-trained, professional background screeners, using world-class processes and systems at a reasonable price. Contact us now for a free consultation on how Vanguard Screening Solutions can support your recruitment, hiring, onboarding, and retention strategies. Visit us, vanguardscreen.com. Connect with us at Vanguard Screen through Facebook and LinkedIn.
Hi, Dana. Good afternoon, and thank you, Dana, for taking the time to join us this afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, George. Hi, Jam, and to all your viewers. Hello, everyone. Nice to have you. Nice. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Okay. Siguro ako, I'll be asking the first question na muna, tapos Jan can take over kasi medyo yung connection ko, no, kinakabahan ako. Pero siguro the first question muna, Dana, is how are you right now? And probably tell us a little bit about yourself muna.
Oh, okay. Right now we're working from home. I'm with Francorp Philippines. Just to quickly share a little about our company. We're the worldwide leader in franchise development and consulting. We are also a franchise. Our headquarters is in Chicago. And we are present globally in 22 countries, including the Philippines. And over the years, the whole Francorp was able to develop more than 3,000 franchise brands worldwide. And in the Philippines, we have helped over 800 brands with their franchise programs. No, some of the clients that we have had the pleasure of developing their programs are Jollibee, that's the first one in the Philippines, Maxis Group, the Generics Pharmacy, Waffle Time, Turks. So from the big QSRs, restaurants, meron din tayo mga kiosks, Turk Pharma, Shawarma Shack, Faron Cafe, Pen Shop, and many more. So mga 800 clients yan over a period of 20 years, more than 20 years, because that's the length of Francorp's operation in the Philippines.
Yeah. So basically, Francorp is not a franchisor, di ba? Hindi siya franchisor, hindi siya franchisee. It develops yung franchise operations, parang ganon. of a
We
particular
develop
brand?
franchise programs, yes,
Right.
oo. When, for example, you are an entrepreneur and you would like to expand your business via franchising. Kasi there are many ways of expanding a business, di ba? You can go through distribution, etc., wholesaling. But if you will expand it through franchising, then we develop the franchise program. What do? We do your operations manual. We will draft your franchise agreement, and most importantly, your strategic plan or your direction. And then we will teach you how to sell it, and we will do your marketing plan. So it's really end to end.
Okay. So basically, your clients are the brands themselves.
Right.
Okay.
Right,
So
right.
so you mentioned Jollibee was your first Philippine client. So does that mean that you were the ones who developed yung franchising business ng Jollibee? So before you came in, Jollibee was not yet franchising? Is that correct?
Actually, the Francorp that developed Jollibee is Francorp US.
Oh, okay.
So Jollibee, the owner of Jollibee, went to the US, and they trained because there was no Philippine branches. So lahat ng consulting coming from the US consultants.
All right.
And then after Jollibee has been, franchising already, our board of directors, and who are the pillars of the industry, went to the US to look for, it's an expansion kasi we want to expand the retailing business through franchising. So they went to the US and they looked for who developed Jollibee, and yon, the rest is history. They found Francorp, and they brought Francorp to the Philippines more than 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned earlier, franchising is one mode of expansion for a business. So what are the pros and cons of expanding via franchising?
Okay, pros and cons of expanding via franchising. Kasi ang franchising kasi siguro what we can say is yung mga advantages,
Yeah.
why you will develop your business, or why you will expand your business through franchising. Kasi normally when you expand your business, ang ginagamit mo yung mga internal funds mo, diba? So halimbawa you already have an existing business. Before you can put up your second branch, kung hindi ganun kalaki yung capital mo, kailangan mag-ROI muna, mag-payback muna before you can put up your next branch. Or you can borrow capital from the bank, for example, or equity investments. You can get equity investors. But merong mga disadvantage yun. Like, of course, the interest that you will pay for your borrowed capital. And if you get equity investors, then ang nangyayari, nadadilute yung interest mo because meron ng iba na magde-decide for you. You just don't have to take yourself in consideration. And then meron naman partnership, dealership, and distribution. Doon naman medyo may control risk kasi you just let them sell your brand, sell your products, but you really have no say on their operation. Okay, so sa one side of the spectrum, capital and manpower risk, sa kabila naman control risk. So ano yung nasa gitna? Yun yung franchising. And a full integrated franchise is sa'yo yung system, may signage mo yung gamit, and even the operation system is provided by the franchisor.
Okay, yeah. So how about from the side of the franchisee? So for example, me, I want to go into for example, to the food business. So what would make me choose franchising an established brand versus building up my own brand?
Okay. When you set up when you want to go into a business, 'di ba? Ang mahirap is building the name and yung trial and error process that is parang inherent in a startup.
Yeah.
So yun yung advantage ng franchising, because of franchising, the franchisor will allow the franchisee to use their name and their system. So yung meron ng brand equity before the franchisee can even start operating. Mas madali magbukas ng tindahan kasi kilala na yung brand, and then wala na nga, like I said, walang trial and error process. If meron man, very minimal, no? Kasi proven na yung system systems and procedures na nagagawin nila. Meron na silang training, may operations manual na sila na ginawa, and then yung mga products and services defined na yan. It's very hard, I will put up a restaurant, I'll get a chef to develop my menu, mahal yan. So why not just pay the franchisee? You get a proven system and just operate it according to the franchisee standards.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure you've seen literally hundreds of different brands through the years na franchise, and I'm sure merong more successful than others. Meron siguro doon out of the 800, meron siguro hindi naging successful. So from your view, what makes a franchising business successful? Or I guess on the flip side, what would make it fail?
Okay, ano ba tayo? From the franchisor
both siguro. Sa
perspective,
franchisor muna, hindi sa franchisor.
Oo, yeah. Okay, sa franchisor kasi, bakit nagfe-fail ang isang franchise, no? Ang sabihin na natin, franchise na siya. Importante kasi meron kaming tinatawag na franchisability criteria. So the projects that we do before we engage them, they go through process. We check their franchisability. And dito sa franchisability na to, dito namin na-measure yung looking forward kung ano yung magiging successful ba to, tatanggapin ba to ng tao, ano yung advantage nito versus other investment opportunities, no? So part of that, bakit nagfe-fail? Nagfe-fail, una is siguro kulang sa uniqueness yung product nila. Okay? Yeah. Pangalawa, yung continuing value na tinatawag. Okay? So pag kulang ka sa ganito, yung hindi namin recommend namin na improve mo yung sistema mo so that you will have all these qualities before you start franchising. But for those who franchise without these elements, sometimes do not make it. So continuing value, this is your proprietary product. This is what will make your franchisee stay in the system and continue renewing the contract. Ito rin yung secret sauce mo. So without this, why will the franchisee keep on renewing the product, the franchise agreement, and keep on renewing your keep paying the royalties, diba? And then unique. How unique are you versus other concepts or other products like that in the market? So it does not have to be breakthrough na uniqueness, diba? Sometimes it can be packaging, the type of service, how you deliver it, or sometimes mga burgers, color lang ng bun yan, or Angus ka ba, or hindi masyadong pricey. Yeah. So yung those are some of the franchisability criteria. Credibility is also important. If you do not put effort in building your brand, anong mangyayari sa brand? How are you helping your franchisees? Your franchisees rely on you or got you because of the brand that you provide to the brand equity. Yeah. And another, I have to add this, successful prototype. So there are kasi some who franchises without a proof of concept, so that they have to have that. Otherwise, how can you tell your franchisee to do this and that if you yourself are not experienced? At sabi nga natin, replicating a successful business, yan yung franchising. Replicating a successful business. If it is not, it's just a concept, or if it's a failed concept, how do you expect it to succeed over time,
Yeah. So So you mentioned yung prototyping. So how old must a business be before you would recommend it to go into franchising as an expansion strategy? Like pwede ba yung mga startups pala or
Yeah. The ideal is at least they are operating three units.
Like
Ito
3 branches?
3 branches, and then mga 3 years. That is the ideal. But we have made a lot of concepts na at least minimum siguro 1 year na nag-ooperate at because at least umikot na ng isang term, 'di ba? Nakaikot na ng isang term. Nakita mo na. Right. And then another is your I mentioned about the locations. So at least na-experience mo yung mga different types of markets, ano yung location profile, because it's going to be the basis for approving the site that your franchisees will bring to you for approval.
Yeah. So how about obviously it's very important for a business to choose the right franchisee. Franchisee ba yung tawag o franchiser?
Franchisee, yes.
Franchisee. So what are the main criteria for choosing a good potential franchise?
Okay, siguro yung mga masasabi natin, ang tawag natin dyan, parang sa mga franchisors, ano ba yung franchisee profile? Okay, una, are they willing to actively operate the store? Diba? So, pero ang franchising kasi, tinuturo naman yan di ba? May training naman, etc. You can always hire your manager. But if you are not present, you have to empower someone to make the decisions for you. We have a lot of franchisees who are OFWs who are not here, but they have managers to run and make the decisions for them. So, are you actively managing the store? Another point is that ang franchising kasi pag actively managed, mas successful rather than if it was managed by a salaried manager. And then pangalawa is yung capital mo siguro, yung capital ng franchisee. Ano ba yung capital na meron ka? Ano yung skills na meron ka? And have you tasted this product? Do you love the product? Yan yung mga usual na tinitingnan din ng mga franchisors natin. And some franchisors will not look at just the capability to invest, but will also look at, more importantly, the love for the product. Are you a fan of this product or this concept?
If you're a user,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Actually, our family, we have a franchise. We are a franchisee. My brother, we're franchising a well-known retail business. I think it's not one of your brands.
Okay.
But it's, it has numbers in the names. Obviously, siguro kung sino yun. 2 numbers, So yun. So how important is yung logistics nung franchisor? Kasi sa nakikita ko, di ba, parang yung franchisee really dependent siya on timely deliveries, etc., coming from the franchisor. So how do you help a potential franchisor in developing also? Do you also help them in developing their logistics capability, yung mga warehousing nila, ganun?
Okay. When we start a program, when someone engages our services, we do an immersion, a deep dive of their operations. While we only do franchise development, we prepare the operations manual, but along the way we will see gaps that will need to be addressed, and we will do that. We will make those recommendations to the franchisor and recommend what needs to be fixed, and maybe if our suppliers that are our providers out there that can help them, we will also give them those recommendations. But no, it's not part of our service to provide that. It's just franchise consulting.
Yeah. So, by the way, how do you usually, or I guess how do you recommend to the franchisors any selection? Do you recommend any selection criteria? Do you, for example, do you ask your franchisors to conduct background checks on potential franchisees? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, it's something that we train them. Part of the service of Francorp is number one, syempre when you do your strategic planning, you have a goal. May target kami sa franchisor, and we help with that. We prepare the program on how to support the goals. And one of which is preparing the marketing plan and teaching them how to sell the franchise. So in that module where we teach the franchisors how to sell, doon na tinuturo yung which partner to look for, because ang franchising is an awarding process, diba? So hindi pwedeng i-award lang just because they have capital. So we have to teach them what else to look for when picking the right franchisee, to get the right partner or the right franchisee. So there is training provided to them in selling and in selecting the franchisees.
Yeah. So what's your view on franchisees that have multiple different brands, no? or even potentially competing brands? So for example, a franchisee that would get say a food cart business, the franchisee may opt to get 5 different food carts, 5 different brands. So do you recommend to your clients giving franchises to those types of franchisees who operate several different brands?
Okay. Hindi, we discussed that because that's part of the profile of the franchisee that they will accept. Sometimes hindi maganda yung merong competition, okay? So sometimes we do not recommend that they have a competitor. Other times naman, advantage yun. Like for example, they have a big warehouse already and they can cater different brands, so they have a big commissary, so meron silang capability to operate more than one concept. Kaya lang ang disadvantage doon ng sinasabi namin sa franchisors is yung loyalty ng franchisee mo. So sa'yo ba yung loyalty niya o sa ibang brand? And then they weigh the benefits naman eh. So if they feel na yes, maybe a competitor for the same category but not necessarily dun sa specific category, like a shawarma or pero kung shawarma and food, medyo pwede yan.
Kasi pwedeng complementary,
Correct.
If franchisee may operate like a small food park, is lahat ng mga brands mo nandun.
Right. O wag lang super direct competitor.
Yeah. So George is here. George, do you have any questions?
No, pasensya na, medyo naputol ako kasi I couldn't hear you guys. Hindi ko na nga alam kung ano yung pinag-uusapan, biglang yung connection. Ayoko mag-drop off. Siguro ang pinaka-question ko, I don't know if natanong na ni Jan kanina, no? In terms of yung franchise, no, when somebody gets into a franchise business, typically how long does a contract last? No, how long does an agreement last? No, para lang because I'm sure a lot of people might be asking a question: how long will I project if I want to go into this agreement? No?
Yeah, franchise agreement for small concepts like carts and kiosks will normally last for 3 years. And then there is a renewal provision naman in the franchise agreement, at least for the franchise agreements that we do. And then for the bigger concepts, full restaurants, o kaya yung mga salons, retail, like the generics pharmacy maybe, or mga 5 years yan. And then merong renewal. So yung renewal, sometimes 2 terms of the same number of years for each term.
Okay, 2 terms. Any challenges that you guys are encountering? Siguro maganda i-divide natin. Pre-pandemic tsaka ngayon during the pandemic. Are there like any challenges that sprung up right now, and then perhaps before that, yung mga challenges? And then if you can also share, baka may mga opportunities that came up.
Okay, challenges sa mga franchisor clients namin is maraming sarado, okay? Pero maraming sarado, pero marami ring mga bagong opportunities na nakita tayo overnight, 'di ba? Yung delivery, halos lahat nag-go into delivery, and then yung fintech, 'di ba? Yung electronic payment. Oo, and then ang isa pa is ghost kitchens, dark kitchen, cloud kitchen, so yung mga yan, 'di ba? Oo. Tapos yung mga franchises on health and wellness. So those are the opportunities that came up. And then yung mga challenges, syempre, is yung mga franchisees patuloy magbabayad ng mga royalties yan ng mga franchise fees. So a lot of them, syempre, humingi ng leeway ng kaunti. And a lot of franchisors naman, that's part of their support na binibigay sa mga franchisee. Una, they teach the franchisee how to pivot. Yun ang role ng franchisee, magagaling na franchisor na meron tayo ngayon. Once the pandemic hit, what did they do? How did they pivot so that the franchisees will continue to operate? Merong iba, 'di ba, yung mga nag-wholesale na lang ng mga products nila, and then yung iba nag-retool, nag-reskill ng mga employees nila so that they can adapt to the digital platform. We have a client na spa siya, pero ang ginawa niya, ni-retool niya yung mga masseuse nila so that they can do cleaning. Di ba ngayon malakas ang yung mga deep cleaning sa mga houses. So they retooled all those massage specialists to do cleaning. So yung ganun yung isip ng franchisor, what will I do? How can I take advantage of the situation? And the association naman that we are part of, Philippine Franchise Association, are very active in bringing all these speakers, resource persons, so that all these franchisors will learn what is happening in the industry, what's the trend right now, so that sila rin madaling nakakapag-pivot. Madami yung mga restaurants natin, yung mga crew nila, ginawa nilang delivery kasi mas malakas na yung delivery. Yung mga iba, samgyup, 'di ba, sarado yung mga samgyupsal restaurants, so 'di ba? So what they do, samgyup parking sila or samgyup delivery sa mga bahay. So yung mga yan din yung that's part of the criteria that we tell the franchisees to look for in a franchisor right now. So what did they do during these times? How are they able to pivot and survive even ngayon?
Okay, yeah. So I'm curious, so is there a specific product or service that you can say is the best or easiest to franchise? And is there a specific product or service which you think is very difficult, or is the worst to franchise?
Okay. Lang siguro, difficulty in terms of skill needed or yung complexity ng operations. Pero lahat naman kasi yan may sagot natitrain mo. If you cannot train, if it takes teachability is part of the franchise criteria, or yung franchisability criteria I mentioned. Teachability is part of it. And the sweet spot for that is 2 months. Okay, so if the training is more than 2 months, it's going to be very expensive for the franchisee. Hindi na medyo practical. Either mag-hire ka na ng professional to do it, or magkuha ka from your internal. Yun ang binibigay mo sa franchisee mo. So there. And then, easiest, syempre, yung mga carts natin. Ang franchising din kasi is simplification. So, kaya we have all the tools, we make all the tools needed so that it would be easy for the franchisor to train the franchisee. And well, siguro on the surface, you will say na mahirap yung, kasi may mga franchise ng dialysis center. Diba? Parang ang hirap, diagnostics clinic. Parang ang hirap niyan, 'di ba? Pero meron namang training may operations manual naman, and they will hire professionals. Ang importante lang is actively involved yung franchisee, lalo na dun sa mga complex na concept.
Yeah. Is there any like a standard return on investment for a franchise?
Meron tayong tinitingnan na minimum, meron ding magaganda na return na ROI. Okay, so siguro cart. For example, a cart na less than 1 million ang investment. Dapat ang ROI mo, ang payback period niya, nasa mga 1 million. Matagal na siguro yung 1 million, 1 year. Matagal na siguro yung mga 1.5 years for that. And then siguro if your restaurant, 5 million to 8 million investment, yung mga nasa 3 years siguro yan, average. Pero minimum, siguro as a minimum, lalo na ngayon, no, how do we expect to recover it that fast? Pero merong ngayon yung mga concept na talagang super phenomenal yung increase ng growth, yung growth nila because they were able to pivot, 'di ba? Oo, yung mga delivery, etc. Okay. So, meron namang mga iba na ang tinitingnan natin is, halimbawa ikaw, if I will invest this amount sa stocks, ano ba yung minimum sa stocks ngayon? 19%, 20%. So, dapat ang ROI ko dito sa investment where I will be more actively involved should be higher than that on the first year at least.
Okay. What's the most unique product that you can think of na naging franchise?
Oh,
Yung kakaiba.
okay. Kakaiba, mga tawag natin dyan, mga prime movers eh. So that's part of one of the franchisability criteria. How are they differentiated? Are they so unique that they are the first in the industry? Ngayon, prime mover. So siguro, ano ba naiisip natin? Merong mga kasi diba right now it's cloud kitchen, dark kitchen. So yung meron kaming isang ginawang project, naman siya, it's a platform. So right now we're going towards that, diba? Platform, it's a dark kitchen, but they have a platform, and the platform and the system, they created it themselves. So yun, yung maganda yon dahil hindi ka na magbibuild ka na ng kitchen, yes. Pero yung platform niya, proprietary niya yon eh. So it's very promising. Another, ano pa ba? Na-block out ako. Yung sa mga food naman ngayon, usually, wala namang medyo bago na food concepts natin. We have microfinance, we have...
Okay. So, fina-franchise yun?
Mga bago yan. And then... sa Francorp, actually, we would joke, no, sa consultants na ang ginagawa namin na services from birth to death. So from birth, paanakan, and then death, funeral chapels. So meron na kaming, may mga nagawa.
Okay, na-franchise na rin pala yung mga funeral chapels ngayon.
Yeah, oo. Like we said, basta pumasa siya sa franchisability criteria, di ba? So pwede kang, kaya before, when the franchise industry was just starting in the Philippines, kukunti lang yan, very handful yan. When you say franchise, yan yung Wendy's, Carl's Jr., di ba? Yan yung
McDonald's, syempre.
Oo, yan, McDonald's, di ba? Puro mga QSRs. Pero right now, bawat part ng face mo, merong franchise yan. So may brows, may teeth, may nose, may skin. Sa hair mo, baka 3 concepts yan. Meron kang salon, meron kang blow drying only, and meron kang coloring, meron pa yung mga fake, yung mga wigs,
extensions.
Yung hair extensions. So there's a lot of concepts to choose from right now.
So, if we compare yung franchising like industry sa Philippines versus sa other countries, do you think na mas accepted sa Philippines ang franchising? Mas madami or pareho lang? Or medyo naglalag pa siya compared sa ibang countries?
Alam mo, prior to pandemic, the goal of the association was to make the Philippines the franchise hub of Asia. And prior to the pandemic, I don't know if you've attended yung mga franchise expo na ginagawa ng Philippine Franchise Association, no?
Yung nung nag-franchise kami, nung nag-start kami mag-franchise nga nung retail, nag-attend kami to see kung ano yung mga available.
Ayan, oo. So, so yan, it's the most attended, it's the biggest franchise show in Asia. I think even bigger than the world, only baka third US, Paris, Dubai. Pero nandyan tayo sa nandyan ang Pilipinas sa sa forefront ng franchise industry. In fact, yung Francorp, di ba, we said we're in more than 22 countries, 23 countries. The Philippines is number 2 sa most active franchise consulting ng mga branches ng Francorp.
Next to the US.
Next to the US, yes.
Okay. So, do you also, like how many local or Filipino brands have you seen successfully expand in other countries? Of course, we all know Jollibee. So, are there any more brands that you help that are successful in franchising in other countries?
Yeah. Siguro from the latest figures that I have, 25 brands are already going outside the country. And even in the midst of the pandemic, si Potato Corner, kali-kaliwa yung pag-o-open yan sa Singapore, Canada, even during the pandemic. So yes, and that's part of the advocacy rin ng franchise ng Philippine Franchise Association, is to help the local brands go out.
Have you had any experience or have you seen mga scams in the franchising industry? Like what sort of scams have you seen so far?
Oo, madami rin na sana yung mga tao nag-iingat, no? Meron kasi kaming pinag-iingat namin yung mga tao sa mga pseudo franchises. So aside from they would claim na franchise fee, ganyan, ganito, but hindi talaga yung concept ng franchising, hindi talaga nila ginagawa, or wala talaga dun sa DNA nila. Ano ba yung mga scams, na yung mga signs ng scams, yung mga too good to be true, di ba, na returns na pinapangako nila. So yeah, number 2, meron ba silang physical store or proof of concept, like we said. Kaya very important yung successful prototype, kasi franchising is duplicating a successful business. And then sasabihin siguro nila yung meron silang ganito karaming franchisees. We teach the franchisees to conduct due diligence. So mag-interview ka, sabi nila may franchisee, see if they are really there, and if they are really receiving the support that the franchisor promised. And then siguro tingnan nila yung mga list of outlets ng mga franchisees, tapos mga pressure tactics, wag din sila magpadala doon. Pero ang importante, saan ba nila kinuha itong listing na to, itong franchisee na to? Did they get this from a reputable listing, di ba, sa association or sa isang kilalang broker, or nakita lang nila sa social media? So tingnan nila ano yung pag sinabi ito yung investment or ito yung franchise fee, ano yung inclusive dito sa investment na to, si franchisee, na paano yung product, sino mag-provide ng products, ano yung support na matatanggap ng franchisee from the franchisor. Kasi kung walang support yan, ba't ako magbabayad ng royalty fee, di ba? So, and maraming support. Go ahead.
Yeah, kasi I would think na, as we all know, marami yung mga multi-level marketing / mga Ponzi scheme, no? So parang feeling ko, maraming pwedeng palusutin na this is actually a business franchise, di ba? Kasi yung concept ng multi-level, di ba, parang you're paying para pwede kang mag-earn. So parang kung tutusin, pwede mong sabihin, parang tong franchise, di ba? So, do you entertain yung mga ganong mga concepts?
We have done we have done MLMs na franchise na fina-franchise. Hold on. We have done MLMs na fina-franchise din. And basta pumasok siya sa franchisability criteria. And these MLMs naman have been in the market for quite a number of years already. So medyo nakita na natin yung reputation and yung credibility nila bago natin sila tinuruan. Usually kasi they would use franchising to expand outside the country or in another territory within the Philippines. Pero yung DNA ng MLM, ganun pa rin, di ba? May network, may recruiting, etc. Kaya lang gusto nila sa ibang territory. Yon.
So franchise
okay.
Yung mga MLM.
Yeah, pwede naman. Basta i-evaluate lang natin and pumasa siya sa franchisability criteria.
Yeah, George?
Ako may question. Isa, di ba kanina we were talking about si franchisee, no, trying to see or trying to scrutinize, no, kung may mga scams nga or yung mga dubious na franchisors. Other way around, meron ba? When we say other way around, si franchisor naman, how can they probably, know that maayos din yung mga nagpa-franchisee sa kanila? Meron bang eligibility? May criteria din ba na tinitignan or something? Or is there like a process that they go through?
Yes, definitely. Kasi ang franchising numbers game yan di ba? So, well, lahat naman ng sales numbers game. So, una, maraming mag-a-apply, maraming mag-i-inquire, di ba? But as there are stringent requirements along the way. So, yung mga nakaka-comply, yun lang yung maiiwan, and then the rest gets filtered out. So, for example, masabi nga natin dito ang conversion rate natin sa Pilipinas is mga 1% to 3% lang. Okay? So, ganun ka konti, ganun kadami, tapos ito lang ang magsa-sign up. Pero yung mga prime movers or yung mga bago nag-launch sa market na mga concepts, mabilis yan, mas mataas ang conversion rate niyan kaysa dun sa mga naka-ano na, yung nagsusustain na lang. Yeah. So yes, meron silang criteria na hinahanap, merong mga documents. So, merong at least for us, yung application evaluation form, and then before we move forward, may location ka ba? And then, syempre, kasama na doon, along the way, may deposit. So, hindi talaga, parang yung chance na si franchisor ay ma-scam, medyo far-fetched. Kasi, maraming pagdadaanan si franchisee before a franchise is awarded to a franchisee.
Yeah. Yeah, kasi the franchisee will already be spending money. From the start. Yeah.
Oo. Pero kami, we do not, the franchisee, maglalabas na siya ng pera. Pag once na magpapa-evaluate siya ng site, may site evaluation deposit na. And then magsasubmit na siya ng proof of, mga maraming proof of income, proof of identity, etc. And then before even signing the franchise agreement, maglalabas na yan ng franchise deposit, and then, so marami siyang, he has to be invested before he is accepted into the system.
Yeah. So,
and may due diligence, nagba-background check si franchisor.
Yeah. So we're curious kasi, as you probably know, yung Vanguard screening, yun ang business namin, we do background checks for employees. Yeah. So, by the way, do you have any idea how many franchise stores or businesses are there in the Philippines, like combined? Like how many total? For example, Jollibee has about more than 1,000, di ba? Kung i-combine natin lahat ng mga brands, do you have any idea how many?
Oh, okay. Baka siguro mga nasa hundreds of thousands na yun eh.
Talaga?
Oo. Kasi yung concepts, there are 2,000 concepts already na franchises. Yeah. 2,000 across the Philippines. And then siguro for each concept would have several branches. Siguro mga 200,000. Based on the latest siguro numbers ng PFA, 200,000 outlets combined.
Outlets. Okay.
Oo. And ang importante kasi advocacy natin is small enterprises, 'di ba? Promoting the MSMEs and creating jobs. So you can just imagine kung ilang millions of jobs ang na-create ng 200,000 na outlets na yun.
Small businesses, I think sabi nila, small businesses comprise more than half of all employment in the Philippines.
Yeah, correct. Oo.
So do you also help potential franchisees in as we know, medyo may konting bureaucracy involved in registration, sa mga government registration, So, usually ba, yung mga brands, yung mga franchisors, tinutulungan din nila yung mga franchisees nila on how to navigate yung mga, like yung mga statutory compliance requirements sa government?
Mm-hmm. It's in the operations manual. They are taught, they are trained how to do it. And the operations manual provides guideline how to do it, but it's usually the franchisee who does the registrations, etc. Pero gina-guide naman ng franchisor because that is his duty. But kung merong franchisor who provides those services, merong mga konting add-on yan for the service, for facilitation.
Okay. So baka dapat mag-franchise kami. Ang franchise namin is taga-ayos ng franchise. Parang gano'n.
Ay, meron din ganyan.
Meron din ganyan.
Business services
Ganun din palang ganun.
So, pina-franchise mo yun ng business services?
Oo, meron din naman.
Lahat pala, no? Okay.
Correct.
So, George.
Very interesting. Oh, ako, I think I'm good na, no? Ako, I would rather hear rin siguro from Dana. Meron ba kayong inline na activities or anything that you'd like to show us para at least we can be more educated, no? And thank you for the information. Dami namin natutunan ni John. Marami tuloy pumapasok sa isip namin.
Yeah, magpa-franchise na tuloy kami ngayon.
Oo, siguro yung discussion, minsan franchisee perspective lang, and then franchisor para hindi tayo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you will allow me, I'd like to share my screen so that I can promote a big event that we will have in the Sige. I will promote some of the activities that we will be having in the next few weeks. One of which is the please I don't have permission to share my screen.
Ano ba yan? Yeah.
Okay. Sige. Let me see. Where is that? Okay, hold on. I can't find. Hold on. We're going to have an franchise your we do regular seminars, webinars, franchise your business webinars, but the biggest event that we will be having right now is the virtual franchise expo. So I will share with you this slide. Okay. Ayan. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so first we'd like to share this book. If you want to know more about franchising, then grab a copy of this book. It's available at the that link. And featured dito 25 franchisors that will share with you their strategies, okay? And 25 top franchise brands will share their strategies in this book. And then yung mga famous na mga brands, the generics pharmacy, even the small brand, even the small concepts, sila Francorp Cafe, yan yung mga learnings nila as they started up to the time they grew. It's all in that book, very precious. So 12 strategies of franchising. And then next is, if you would like to know more about the latest franchise offers, news, and events on franchising, so just scan this code and join the Franchise Talk PH Viber group, Viber community. And we also hold regular how to invest in the right franchise seminars. Ito yung from the franchisee's perspective. We do this regularly, but the next one is going to be on August 31, 2 p.m. Yan, via Zoom. And ito yung sinasabi ko, Virtual Franchise Asia. The expo is going to be on September 8 to 11, while the conference will be on September 21 to 23. Yung conference natin has 30 plus speakers na they have invited, and our keynote speaker is DTI Secretary Mon Lopez and Tourism Secretary Ms. Bernadette Puyat.
So this is there used to be the annual franchise conference held in SMX. Is this
right.
SMX po, di ba? Sa SMX.
Sa SMX,
but this time it's virtual. So free entrance sa expo for your viewers. Just go to the Philippine Franchise Association website and then you can see all the details there. And we will also have a franchise your business webinar, how to franchise your business. Ito very valuable to sa mga entrepreneurs who would like to start their franchise business, growth in the golden age of franchising, because we're predicting that the 2021 is the start of the golden age of franchising up to 2025. 2025 yan. So magbo-boom yung franchise industry natin na. So we want them to be there when this happens. So September 9 and September 11. And we also have a regular seminar brought to us by Action Coach. It's a new franchise that our company brought in from Australia. Action Coach Business Coaching naman. So the next one is September 10, 5 ways to grow your profits. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yan. Okay. Thank you so much, Dana. No? We really appreciate all the information that you shared. Sabi ko nga kanina, kulang pa yung isang oras to actually dive deeper dito sa pinag-uusapan natin. And hopefully our viewers will also check out all of the links that you shared. And we will also check out all of the links that you shared. Jan, meron ka bang i-share na anything about anything that's upcoming, and also probably your take about kasi you guys are into background screening, di ba? So obviously whatever we've discussed today with reference to franchising, meron ka bang take on that? Meron ka bang takeaway or any insights on that as a company that provides value to a lot of businesses, whether big or small?
Yeah, so yung what we observe here in the Philippines, we have clients who background check their employees, but they don't ask their franchisees to do the same. And it's something that we really recommend, because even if they're not actually employees of the brand, they still carry the name of the brand. So for example, Jollibee, I mean, because it's the most popular brand in the Philippines. So when a crew member in a franchised branch makes a mistake, or gets into trouble, the people naman would not think about kanino ba empleyado yan, sa Jollibee Corporation o dun sa franchisee, di ba? So as far as the people are concerned, that person, that crew member, is a Jollibee employee, right? So we really would recommend to franchisees that, and even to the franchisors themselves, na they put in place as part of their operational manual siguro, to do yung proper due diligence when they're hiring, because they are representing the brand, even if they're not employees of the brand itself. They are representing the brand. They're wearing the uniform.
Right,
So
credibility.
the credibility, So that's something that we would really recommend. And of course, if you need to do background screening, we're always here, Vanguard Screening Solutions. We're the biggest in the Philippines.
Yeah. Oh, great. Sige. We'll take note of that.
Yeah.
Saka I can also imagine right now, and not for anything, yung credibility also spans kasi yung even yung cybersecurity. And right now, because most of these companies, sabi mo nga, Dana, kanina, a lot of these companies are already going to the cloud. Most of them are already apps, most of them are already migrating into the digital platform. So obviously what you're looking there is also a perhaps an increased risk, of also being able to be exposed to cyber attacks, cyber threats, which obviously at the end of the day can expose valuable customer data. And when we say valuable customer data, based on our Data Privacy Act, medyo kailangan talaga airtight tayo. And siguro ngayon medyo bumawi lang ako ng kasalita ngayon kasi kanina putol yung internet ko. I had a client last time, and they were into gaming, and nakakatawa kasi parang you would suspect na parang gaming, and when we say gaming, this is yung parang online gambling, parang nakakapagtaka, kasi for somebody such as them, parang you would think na hindi naman sila masyadong big deal sa ganyan. Yung pala, I did realize that part of the regulation pala is all these companies who are into that have to be really strict in terms of their data privacy, kasi kailangan talaga ma-protect yung customer data. And again, it's not just these organizations or these companies, but also, as I mentioned, these emerging startups, na who are actually either your clients, potential clients, and also will be involved in any way or the other, any matter or the other dun sa business ng franchising. So yeah, alam mo, dami naming insights na matutunan. And we really appreciate your time, Dana. Sana hindi to yung huli. Hopefully next time we can still invite you. And yes, we're
It's
very
my pleasure
grateful.
to be here.
Kahit na short notice, thank you.
By the way,
Jan,
Dana, meron na bang nagpapa-franchise inyo ng mga online sabong?
Sorry?
online sabong.
yun ang mga popular ngayon. Ano? Baka may magpa-franchise na rin sa inyo soon, no? Na online sabong.
Ewan ko lang kung papasa sa franchisability.
Pero mga gaming siguro pwede.
Pwede yan.
Yeah, meron. Fintech, meron na rin franchise na ganyan.
Okay.
Mga e-wallets, no? Yeah.
E-wallet, yes.
Nice.
Mga delivery, of course, nandiyan na rin.
Delivery, yes. May mga franchise na. Okay. Sige, maraming salamat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Over the years, franchising has been fulfilling entrepreneurs' dreams to multiply their success both locally and internationally. And with one franchise created every hour, the Philippines is now Asia's franchise capital. But what's the secret to franchise success?
Buying a franchise is the easiest and the most popular way to go into business, because statistics shows that if you buy a successful franchise format, you have a 90% chance of success.
Francorp has completed full franchise development programs of over 3,000 businesses worldwide, creating successful power brands that have become today's movers and shakers of the franchise industry.
Francorp is a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs wanting to grow their brand through franchising.
Our group of consultants are internationally educated and trained, and they have real-world franchise experience. That's why we have the highest number of certified franchise executives in Asia.
Francorp is behind the tremendous growth of franchising in the Philippines. Francorp is behind the big brands that started small, if not micro, and now they're ready to go overseas.
We actually started with a small kiosk in 1992, and today, because of a professional world-class franchise system, we're all over the world.
Francorp offers a complete range of services to assist franchisers.
Francorp has prepared us properly to start our franchise operations, and the rest is history.
Francorp continues to help businesses grow from one to many and to witness the unfolding of more franchise success stories. Are you ready to be the next? Francorp.
Meet HR manager Kat. Kat learned that their recent hire Dan isn't performing well in his assignment. Dan is just the latest in an increasing number of newly hired employees that have been causing all sorts of problems, like lack of basic job skills, poor work habits, bad attitude towards colleagues, and outright fraud. Kat and her team went through the usual hiring process. Dozens of application forms, different levels of interviews, several skills and behavioural exams. And yet, still not getting the right hires. Facing pressure from all sides of the company, Kat needs to find a solution fast. So they revisit the process to find out what they've been doing wrong. That's where they found out that most of the application forms that they've been screening are misleading and false. What to do now? This is where Vanguard's screening solution comes in. One of the biggest and most reputable background screening service providers in the Asia-Pacific region. Vanguard Screening helps minimize the chances of bad hires. by ensuring the candidate's education, job experience, criminal credit history, and other personal details are thoroughly verified by well-trained professional background screeners, using world-class processes and systems at a reasonable price. Contact us now for a free consultation on how Vanguard Screening Solutions can support your recruitment, hiring, onboarding, and retention strategies. Visit us, vanguardscreen.com. Connect with us at Vanguard Screen through Facebook and LinkedIn.